Hello, everyone. Popping in here again, spend a few minutes with you. I'm going to draw a card for us. I'll probably start out with that. For the collective, I'll tell you a little bit about the deck I'm going to be using. I have some announcements for you from Evenstar's Chalice and the Institute. And if you're willing to hang with me a little bit longer, I will tell you about some of the stuff that's up for me personally this summer. I had some really unexpected things unfolding, and so I'm excited to begin talking about them. So I think first I'll light my candle. Right now I'm on the using the Coventry Sweetgrass candle. Just started this about a week or so ago. Oh, and speaking of sweetgrass, I'm right now reading Kimmer's Braiding Sweetgrass, finally. And if you haven't had a chance to read that, I highly recommend it. It is beautifully written with beautiful messages, and it's just been such a nourishing book to read. So that's Braiding Sweetgrass. So a little pop product placement for you here, I guess. I've got my Coventry candle talking about the Braiding Sweetgrass book. And then also the deck that I chose to use today is called the Meditation Deck by Asha Greer. Asha Greer. This actually is a deck that we don't normally carry, but one of our consigners is putting it into inventory, and I found it sitting here on my desk, getting it ready, and I thought, well, let's just use this because it looks interesting. So what I'm going to do is just kind of tune in and ask for what do we need to hear today? What message will be helpful for us today? Oh, interesting. Okay, so here is the cover. Here's the picture. And it says, look at your relationship to money. Imagine yourself wealthy. Imagine yourself homeless. How much do you really need? Wow. That's actually right in alignment with one of the messages coming through the Braiding Sweetgrass book I was just talking about too, which is just of being really conscious of how much do we actually need, um, and what is wealthy. What is wealthy? So if you have everything that you need and you're sustained, you actually feel wealthy. You feel full, and there's so much extraction going on in all the different worlds, but I mean worlds in terms of like domains. Like I'm seeing extraction, of course, happening in the manufacturing, in the product space, seeing extraction happening in the healing and the coaching space, seeing it happening in our politics, our social structures, all those things of um, there not being of taking and using beyond what we really need. And part of that, I think, is many of us haven't come to terms internally to what is enough, um, and what is wealth, right? And when do we have enough? And so I think that's a really worthy meditation to be sitting with. I think, the opposite is true, is that we also sit in poverty consciousness. I think that one of the shadows of that not enoughness is this poverty consciousness. Um, and yeah, so just I know this has been a conversation that's been up in my life a lot recently, probably yours too, then. And so just sitting and contemplating with, these questions, or just imagine yourself wealthy and what is that to you? And what does that feel like? And imagine yourself homeless. Um, and they're probably meaning homeless in the way of not enough to sustain, right? Maybe not homelessness in choice um, of deciding to travel or move about or live directly off the land. This feels like, what do you really need? And someone was telling me the other day they just got back from a pilgrimage of walking the Camino, and how simplifying and beautiful it was, and how at the end of the day there was just like this cot and sometimes a curtain. And it was perfect because that was all that was needed. That was all that was being asked, and that was all that was needed in that moment. So, yeah, look at your relationship to these things, sit and contemplate. And that's the message coming through for today. Wow. Yeah. Excuse my scratchy voice. I haven't been talking much today. I didn't know it was so scratchy, but I think it's just the allergies, right? It's the cottonwood has come. The cottonwood has come, and so I'm feeling it in my body. Okay, so a few quick announcements for you. So at Evenstar's Chalice, um, we and the Institute, we have opened up our classroom space and our extra healing space to be able to be rented by others, by people who are part of the Evenstar's family, but also people, who aren't like connected in. And so if you go to our website, evenstarschalice.com/rentals, you can see more information about that. We're actually quite excited to be able to start using our home base in terms of like our classes and things like that, and begin sharing it with a wider community. And we want that space to be getting as much love as is needed. So we are launching that. We are moving forward with that, with having that space becoming available. Another thing that's changing is our standard rates for our readers and our service providers. That's for like the walk-in services into Evenstar's Chalice. We're making a change on June 1st. We used to have where there were like levels of, like a basic and a mini and a deep. And now we've just moved to a straight $30 for every 15 minutes for those services. So we've simplified it some. And yeah, so we're making that change, and that will happen June 1st, which is in a day or so. And then the other piece is we've got two more classes here in June in the Institute. We've got a Reiki 1 class that's going on. We have sections one that are on 3 Thursday nights and one that's on the weekend. And there are still plenty of seats left open for those. So if you've been wanting to learn Reiki, and if you wanted to do it this summer, now is the time to do it, because we are going on break for the rest of the summer. Throughout July and August, the Institute will be on break. And so probably no more Reiki classes, although there might be an online Reiki too that might happen, but certainly no more in-person classes for the rest of the summer. So if Reiki 1 was on your list, I highly encourage you to take care of that now. We also have David Davis doing Swimming the Celestial. He's talking about planetary magic. I'm really interested in this. That's happening June 10th. And that's actually our last class or workshop that'll be happening throughout the rest of the summer. So get on those if you are interested in that. And then let's see. Well, I think that covers all the announcements I needed. I was going to tell you a little bit about some of the stuff that's up for me. I have had some really unexpected opportunities and things arise for me. I had really planned on putting my head down this summer and just working and, keeping things moving along. And it now turns out that in each month of this summer, I've got something new and kind of exciting to me going on. So here in June, toward the beginning of June, I've been invited to co-present with a colleague of mine at the Agile Beyond conference, which is in Detroit. And this is kind of a bit from my organizational consulting side, a part of my business that I haven't been spending a whole lot of time in over the past couple of years. But it'll be really good to be reconnecting into that world, into those pieces. I'm really kind of feeling called to reconnect in that way. The super juicy one, the big story for me, is in July. I will be going to Glastonbury, UK. I'm going on an initiatory pilgrimage retreat with a priestess group that I have been training with. That's part of my spiritual path. We are going to be doing deep work in anointing. I'll be initiating as an anointing priestess. And we will be doing private ritual at the Chalice Well Gardens. This is actually He's from the gardens here that I've chosen as my backdrop here today. We'll be going to the tour. We'll be going to Avebury. So we will be going to sacred spots and doing ritual. And this is very much within the line of the Magdalene. So this is a spiritual lineage that I have been personally deepening into over the last couple of years, but probably many lifetimes because it's so integral to kind of my the depth of my understanding of who I am in this space and time. And coincidentally, I'm also like taking a class with Rocky Rains right now on the Grail, and the Grail legends have been coming up, and the Magdalene lineage is coming together. And of course, we're called Evenstar's Chalice, right? So the chalice for me has been a really beautiful symbol of the divine feminine in this world. And so I'm just super juiced up about going. Um, it is a really big stretch financially. It's funny that this came up, thinking about what do you need? Well, I need some money for that. So I'll probably be doing um, some fundraising and making some different offerings and ways to really help me kind of be able to lean into that because it really feels like I'm called to be doing this now and that it's important for my work. So I'll be talking more about this a little bit later as I get closer to the date and also kind of figure out what I'm going to be doing in terms of those fundraising offerings. And then the last one in August, I've been invited to attend the Parliament of World Religions. And as we get closer to that date, I will lean in, I'll tell you a little bit more about the whys and the hows of all of that. But that's taking place in Chicago. And so yeah, so my summer really looks very, very different than what I imagined it was going to do. Um, I imagine that that is occurring for some of you as well, that you had your ideas of where you were going or what you were doing, and the kind of the upside downness of almost everything that we're experiencing now is, kind of rattling us into or landing us in different um, areas or in different directions than perhaps we had planned. But for me, although it's all different, it definitely is probably way more in alignment with who I am and what I need to be doing, other than what I had planned to be doing. So yeah, I encourage you to also just kind of surrender to that, even if it's not making rational sense, because for me, none of this is making rational sense. It doesn't make sense for me to do these things now, from that point of view. But you got to follow the heart, right? You got to follow where spirit is leading. And so that's where spirit's leading me now. So I look forward to connecting with you in all the ways that we connect. And be well, friends. And I'll check in again soon. Bye bye.